On this side, this is Cyprus.
Yes.
And this wall is Greece.
Mm.
The rest of the library is downstairs. And I made an agreement with the University of Cyprus that I will bequeath my whole library to the University of Cyprus.
Very good.
I have the biggest library on Greece and modern Cyprus in Western Europe.
Wonderful.
Have a look. Have you seen this book?
I think I saw it when you were showing it to
my dissertation 50 years ago.
I would show you. I saw you was showing this book to Mr. Papachelas on the TV show. Yes, I have the Greek edition.
Oh, the Greek version. Good.
Yes. This is Exandras in 1975. I don't.
In the meantime,
yes,
I wrote 73 books.
Yes.
Have you seen this?
Yes, I've seen this. Yes, I don't have it, but I've seen it.
And there's another one. And now I'm working on a new book. On Greece, right at the end of the withdrawal of the German army, and from then to the Decembriana, the developments then, and the role of Georgios Papandreou.
Okay, let's start from the beginning. First, you presented the book in Athens or in Crete?
Well, I wrote the book on Crete, first in German, then in English, and Govostis published it in Greek. And it was presented in Athens in the shop of Eleftheroudakis.
Yes.
There were lots and lots and lots of people, among them some colleagues, and they were fascinated and very, very positive about my account. And then we flew to Crete, and it was...
Excuse me, just a second, please. The book was presented by you and Mr. What's his name, Kargakos?
No, it was an archaeologist who I knew.
Oh.
And he presented it. And the people were delighted. And then he said, well, Richter once more proved that neither Operation Marita, the attack on Greece, nor Operation Mercury had any influence on Barbarossa.
See.
And thus he killed the Greek myth of the 6 weeks.
I see.
Well, the ridiculous story is that the first attack, Marita, do you know how long this lasted?
How long?
2.5 days in Macedonia.
Yes.
And why? Because the British made a capital mistake. 3 days before the German attack began, they organized a revolution in Belgrade. And all of a sudden, Yugoslavia was on the British side. And this made things easy for the Germans. They did not have to cross the Grami Medaxa, but could go around through Yugoslavia and down to Salonika. In 2.5 days, and the army capitulated.
Okay.
And then a week of withdrawal, and then there were 4 weeks without any fighting whatsoever. And then Hitler gave an order. This is the book with his orders to attack Crete. As absolutely stupid idea. It would never have made sense. But the commander of the parachutists, General Student,
yes,
developed a different idea. Sent this idea via wireless to Berlin. And the British read it. They knew exactly where the German parachutists would come down and prepared machine guns to kill them in the air. There was only one exception west of Maleme. A hill was forgotten. No. 3 days before the attack began, the commanding generals noticed this, but we don't have any troops anymore, we cannot cover this. Yes. And there they came down unmolested, no losses. Next day they attacked, and then came those who conquered Greece, not parachutists, mountain troops. And they fought through the mountains to the east, not down at the seaside.
I see.
And the general believed in the 6 weeks myth. I remember that he told me, you know, Hitler lost World War II because we fought for 6 weeks and the 6 weeks were missing in front of Moscow. Absolutely nonsense. Second, Operation Mercury, Operation Marita, Greece,
yes,
and Barbarossa were planned in December 1940, half a year before. It was planned that the attack on Greece should start either in April or May. The attack on Russia in late June, because in Russia, in spring, there's heavy rain, and infantry crossing a field would walk in mud at least so much.
Yes.
And even this Napoleon, the emperor, knew this 100 years before. And Hitler knew this too. Therefore, he's decided the attack will not be before June. Therefore, the two operations have nothing in common. That's it. And besides that, I wrote a book on the Grammy Metaxa. I found a source, unbelievable source. When the Germans had conquered Greece, the army produced a book for inside the army on the Grammy Metaxa.
Yes.
Paintings, photographs, sketches. It is the only reliable source on the Grammy Metaxa. And I found this in Belgium in a second-hand bookshop. It existed only this copy, nothing more.
I see.
It's full of fantastic photographs, and all of a sudden one understands what went on then. It was clear that they could not go through; they had to go around, and then the British made this favor with the coup d'etat, and then they could use tanks to go around.
It was something like the Maginot Line that failed.
A rather primitive version.
Yes, I see.
What you see today is the second edition.
Mm.
During the Cold War, with American money, it was recreated. When I wrote about this, I was invited by the Triti Soma Stratum. And they showed me around, and I saw sleeping rooms for 100 soldiers. From the book, I knew not more than 8 soldiers could sleep. Not one cannon. All cannons were in Albania against the Italians. They only had machine guns. And this is in this book.
The sources you used were only sources from the German side.
There's nothing else.
There's nothing else.
And this is not a book written for reading, but just for information for the German army.
Yes. Let me ask a few questions that maybe them are annoying. I don't know if you don't take me that I'm biased. I'm trying to understand what is going on.
It's absolutely reliable.
Yes.
You notice that those guys who wrote this book were experts. They knew the German Westphal. This is the German Maginot Line.
Yes.
And they described it in the tiniest details. And I was absolutely astonished when I noticed that what I saw was not the original line. And then one of the officers told me it was rebuilt during the Cold War by American money. This is what you see today.
I see. When you decided to publish with Govostis, Govostis had published a few of David Irving's books. Is it possible that some people thought that if they are publishing David Irving's books, maybe Mr. Richter is behaving in the same manner? He's a revisionist or something else.
My first books were published by other publishers. And Govostis understood that he can make money with me. And therefore I recently sent him an article. Very interesting, nobody knows this in Greece. There was a bargaining between Churchill and Hitler about Crete. Churchill needed, in 1944, he needed Crete or Greece to have the road through the Mediterranean to the Suez Canal. He had Gibraltar, Sicily, and now he wanted Crete. He knew there were 70,000 German soldiers as occupiers. He could not fight them, but he suggested, you go and we will not touch you. You go north to Salonika and keep the Russians out. And this story is even published by Albert Speer. Not in detail, but the exact thing. And afterwards, we have the percentage agreement in Moscow, and then Greece becomes British, the whole of Greece. Until then, it was only Crete.
Okay, now let's go to what happened in Crete. I've even seen some photos with you and Mr. Parayus.
When the guy who presented my book said, Professor Richter once again proved absolutely reliably that neither Operation Maritime nor Operation Mercury had any influence on Barbarossa. He jumped to the ceiling and yelled, liar, Seftis.
But he had not read the book. From what I saw in the letter he sent to you, and from the letter he sent to the dean of the University of Crete, he had not read the book earlier.
Never saw it. Well, the problem is a few days later, I was called to court. I asked the German embassy what they would advise, and they advised 3 lady Cretan lawyers. I said, well, family, Pelatiasmos. And do you know that I invented the word Pelatiasmos? It didn't exist before me.
I heard it when you used it on Mr. Papachelas' show. We use Pelatiakes σχέσεις.
I asked a colleague in Athens University, a professor of law, and he said, I have 2 former students who are brilliant. They came to Crete and won the trial. Absolutely. Then the general tried to go on. I think a year later, the University of Crete wanted to give me an honorary PhD. I flew to Crete, and the celebration was to take place in the town hall, which used to be a mosque. Yes. It was beautiful, many flowers, and a few minutes before the presentation started, some 10-15 guys came in and started yelling. The whole thing had to be stopped. Next day, I was invited to the university, which was under strike. They brought me in, and in the room there were some 20 students, 3 professors, colleagues, and then I have the photos. You know, a young lady with a short skirt presenting me the PhD, honorary PhD.
We are talking about Galos.
Yes.
You went to Galos, which is in the mountains. It's yes.
Now, the general didn't give up.
Yes.
And the university had a meeting of the Senate.
Yes.
And I asked my lawyers from Athens to go there. And they went there and told them, look, to withdraw an honorary PhD means you must prove that he is not a scholar. But this you cannot do on the basis of some newspaper articles, but on the basis of his 40 books then. Read them. Okay, the Senate came to the conclusion, no, finished.
Let's go back to Mr. Stergiou. I've tried to contact him, but I cannot find him.
He's now in Volos.
Yes, I even called him on the phone that's on the website of the university website, and I sent him an email, but he has not replied.
Was my pupil.
Yes.
He got his PhD from me.
He has been accused that he hid some info, that there was a lot of discussion on your book. What do you think about this? Of course, you're not Mr. Stergiou, but what do you think?
I don't think he ever read it. He's not a specialist of World War II.
Yes.
He has some ideas about Turkey, but not more. Well, and that's when the Senate decided no more. I thought it was finished, and my lawyers were the same opinion. Then the president of the university changed,
Yes.
There came in another one, and he decided we take it away from him.
Okay, let me ask
Without
you one more.
Any decision of the Senate, just he decided.
Oh, I see.
And I gave the thing to my lawyers, and they said, okay, responsible for such things is the simulio epigradias. Now, who is in front of the simulio epigradias? He or he, or I? He. No more talk about taking away the honorary doctorate. In Cyprus, they were breathtaking.
Yes. Sorry for asking some details.
You see, nobody wrote more about Cyprus and the Cyprus problem than me. 4 volumes in German, in English, and now the short version exists in German, English, Greek, Turkish.
Very good.
And it's even read in Turkey. It's on the black market there. And
yes.
Now France, French edition.
Let's go back a few steps back. When they went to Galos to award you the honorary doctorate, you said that there were, first of all, you wrote in your book that there was a sit-in by the students.
Yeah.
And they said that they would stop the sit-in for you to be awarded. Have I got it right up to here?
I think so.
Yes.
You know,
and a lot of people have accused you. Why did you accept to be honored just in front of 20 people and not in an open ceremony?
There happened ridiculous stories. With my partner, she died a year ago, unfortunately.
I'm sorry to hear that.
To Samos every year, each year, and she was an archaeologist and prepared a book called Samyaka.
Yes, I can see it.
I made the book. She wrote it and I made it. And fantastic. There are fantastic photographs. This is the portrait of 2 Roman emperors here.
Yes.
One sees it with a haircut. And well, she grew up in Ankara. Her father was professor for sociology.
Yes.
He was called to Ankara to create the chair. And she went to gymnasium in Ankara and speaks fluent Turkish. And she organized that I gave lectures in Izmir, Smyrna,
yes,
and Çanakkale. They were delighted. I spoke about Gallipoli, World War I. And then my book on the Greek-Turkish War was published in Greek. And then I got 2 mails. Don't come, you will be arrested immediately.
I see.
Okay, I stayed away. But my book on the Cyprus problem in Turkish, it was printed in Cyprus, in northern Cyprus, and it's smuggled into Turkey. There it is prohibited.
Yes, I see.
Huh? Well,
both in English, Greek, and Turkish, or which languages?
It exists in German, English, Greek, and Turkish. And my Turkish publisher told me it is smuggled into Turkey because it's prohibited there. Okay, but he sells. He makes money. Okay.
We won't include that in the interview because he'll be arrested.
Not in Turkey, not in northern Cyprus.
No, not in Cyprus. Okay.
2 times I acted as a go-between between Clearides and Denktash. Mm-hmm. They both liked me, and we got along pretty well. And, you know, I was guest of the government of Cyprus for 35 years, once a year.
Sure.
And even with Denktash, we were friends. Crazy, but it's true. He respected me, and we got along pretty well. And, well, actually, I'm the only German scholar doing research on modern Greece and modern Cyprus. There's no one else.
Okay, since you've referred to Denktash, what are your opinions, and what did Denktash say on the Turkish invasion?
He was, no, Denktash was a Cypriot.
Yes, okay, I'm aware of that. Yes.
Well, one thing is that the Cypriots are neither Greeks nor Turks. I found a document of the 1920s from the Soviet Union. Greek communists, Kukue, and Turkish communists, when they go to Moscow to get training, they are sent to Kutv, the University for the Eastern People. Cypriot communists were sent to that university where the German communists, the French communists, and the British communists were. That means even then, the Cypriots were accepted as Europeans.
Yes.
And the funny thing is, the Poulados which exists there, it is exactly the same as we have, tiny. Whereas Greece lives on the basis of Poulados. And unless you understand this, you cannot understand much.
I can agree with you on that, because I come from another background. I was born in South Africa, in Johannesburg, so I have a different approach to history. And sometimes, you know, in Greece, I find that people don't want to talk about disturbing issues. Yes.
Did you see my bibliography? My own?
Yes, I've seen your bibliography, but I haven't had the time to read all the books. I have.
No, it's a list.
Yes, I've seen it.
I published 73 books and about 300 articles on Greece and Turkey.
And you have, I don't know if you still have the periodicals, the journals. You have Thetis.
You see this picture?
Yes.
Behind them is Thetis.
Yes.
We had a beautiful idea, my archaeological colleague. We make an interdisciplinary journal, and it was bought everywhere in Europe. But somehow he got crazy and reduced it to a journal on archaeology, and then he died. Okay. But Poulados, I'm now publishing, it's in print, volume 114, the only history of Greece in the 19th century. It's brilliant, by Turczynski.
Very good.
And it's a book in German, 600 pages. Brilliant, absolutely. He worked on this for decades. And I knew him in 2002, he died. And I had the idea that this book should be translated into English, and it's now in print. Will come up in a few weeks.
Okay, let's go back.
It is the best history of Greece in the 19th century.
Yes.
And it was crazy. We were friends. He said, I end at the first Olympiad, and you begin at the first Olympiad. He said, yes, I'm a specialist for the 20th century.
Okay, let's go back to what happened after the award and when you were prosecuted by the DA, they sent you to court. First of all, I want you to tell me, were you surprised?
Let's talk tomorrow morning. I must leave now. I have a...
Okay.
I must go to an old lady who is repairing my back.
Okay. So
in half an hour, I must be there.
I see.
And she keeps me alive for 25 years.
So we will talk tomorrow around 9 German time. So that's 10 o'clock Greek time.
If I say it's 10 o'clock, then this is 11 Greek time.
Okay, so you want 10 o'clock?
An hour ahead.
So 10 o'clock is it for Germany? And 11 for Greece?
10 o'clock is 11 o'clock in Greece.
Okay. I want to thank you very much. And a very interesting conversation. I have a lot of questions. But, you know, we will have to talk about Mr. Parayoudakis. Χαίρομαι. We will talk about Parayoudakis and Mr. Margaritis. If you've read Mr. Margaritis' books or articles. You know Mr. Margaritis?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much. And we will continue our discussion tomorrow.
Have you seen this book?
Yes, I've seen it, but I haven't purchased it yet.
This exists in German, English, Greek, and I think in French.
Okay. I will have all the time when I finish my thesis to read all your books.
If you, you know, I'm the editor of the Poulados series.
Yes.
If you want to publish your thesis,
yes,
then we can talk about it.
Okay.
You must pay for the printing. I do always pay, but it's top quality. You see, this is 107.
Yes. The problem is that I will have to translate all the articles. And a lot of things I found on the internet, which are quite disturbing, to be sincere, because I believe that there should be a real discussion about history.
In my new book, I have this. This is the percentage agreement between between Churchill and Stalin.
Very good.
And I have it in this size in the book. Okay, I'm sorry.
And also, if we have time tomorrow,
tomorrow
I want to talk about the reparations, because you know, the reparations is a very thorny. The reparations.
I know even the case of Max Merton.
Okay, very good.
Max Merton did one thing which is unique. He tried, together with a Swiss guy of the Red Cross, to save the Jews of Salonika and bring them to Palestine. And you know who said no?
Who said no?
The governor of Palestine, Lord Moyne, said, I have enough Jews, I do not want any more. And this was the billet for Auschwitz.
This is another thorny issue which we can discuss tomorrow.
Okay, I will. Have a nice evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Same to you. Take care.
Okay, peace.
Yes.